Hello everyone, I am Martin Castine. I'm a landscape and portrait photographer based in London. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to talk about the Canon EOS RP. I was so close to buying the R6, like this close. I might still buy it at some point, but I probably will at some point, but listen to me. I bought the RP, I've owned the R, I've owned or used a large number of the cameras that are out there. Either I've owned them myself or I've borrowed friends' ones and used them and tried them out and so on. So I have a lot of experience, Sony, Fuji, Nikon and Canon systems. Within those four brands, I've used probably the majority of the cameras that they've produced. Here's the thing, the RP has most of what Canon's good at. Most of it's in there. When I bought it, I thought to myself, do you know what? I'm going to shoot that camera to death. I'm going to use it for photo, I'm going to use it for video, and I'm going to use it until the shutter breaks, and then I'm going to replace the shutter and use it till it breaks again and keep doing that with it. And I'm not going to worry about what its resale value is. I'm going to see the money that I've spent on this camera has gone. It's not that expensive as far as full frame mirrorless cameras go. It's about as cheap as it gets. If I can buy a camera, or you can buy a camera that isn't going to break the bank, you'll use it. And that's so important. Imagine if you bought an R5, but for you, that's spending quite a lot of money, and you think, well, I've got to protect it and be careful with it and not knock it against anything. I don't want to get the shutter count too high because when I come to sell it, then it's not going to be worth as much. Is that going to be as good for your photography journey as a camera where you can say, right, I'm going to buy that camera. It's not got the top of the line specs, but it essentially does everything that I need a camera to do. I can do a bit of video, I can do nice photos on it, I'm good to go. And it's got a really nice screen on the back of it, it's got a nice viewfinder, everything's working. I've got Canon's back catalogue of lenses, I've got the new RF lenses if I want to get them. You know, you could look at that and say, well, if I got the RP, I'm just going to use it. Because it's at that price point where you can say, I don't have to worry about it as an investment or what's the resale value of it going to be. And that was really my reasoning on getting it. I thought, this RP will do pretty much everything that I want a mirrorless camera to do. And for me, the number one benefit of a mirrorless camera is the screen on the back. It's just that, it's that tilt screen and the focus abilities that they have, especially when doing things like video. I think that it's more important for most photographers to actually just get the hell on with producing work. I think not caring so much about the camera, that doesn't mean you abuse it. What I'm saying is you're not afraid to use it. That's the difference. It's not about abusing the camera. It's more about saying, I don't care what the shutter count is on this thing. I don't care how much I use it because I've spent that money now and it's not cost the earth. And you can just go ahead and use it and get on with the business of being a photographer. I think that there's a bigger, stronger argument for that. I think it makes a lot more sense. If you just look at the Canon system, the RP, in terms of value for money, is by far the best value for money camera that they produce, providing the specs can do what you need. Because I've been using this RP and I'm telling you, right, I don't think that a lot of the other camera brands or camera models, even within the Canon system or any of the others, are actually in the end. Like, you can look at it on paper and say, but this one's got this, it's got this much dynamic range and blah, blah, blah. You know that one thing on paper doesn't always translate to what the real world experience is like. And Canon always comes through after all of the spec sheet wars have died down. Always they come through on that. And people are starting to learn that now. You're seeing it. Everyone's starting to learn it the hard way. That what you see on paper doesn't translate always very well into what you actually get in the camera system. And the reason people keep coming back to systems like the Canon one is because they get certain core functions right. And that's always in terms of the usability. They lose mostly in the spec sheet wars. Let's look at what Canon's actually good at. The first one is the screens on the cameras. Canon make really good screens on the back, the LCD screens and the viewfinders. And even with the low resolution screen that's on the RP, I can't tell much difference. It looks really sharp and clear and crisp to me. It looks really good. The color rendition on it is really good. I think it's better than, smokes the A7 III for that. I've got an A7 III, it smokes it for that. One of the big benefits on the mirrorless camera is the fact that we've got these live previews, these screens on the back that show us exactly what we're about to photograph or about to video. and the quality with which it does it, Canon is really up ahead in that area. The quality of the touchscreen functionality is first class. It really works. You know, they do this thing with a Q menu which goes down the side so you can change all your settings and so on. They're brilliant at it. Just a very easy to use system in that regard. So if you're working on a project, being able to change stuff very easily and very quickly. And I know everyone's going to say, well, once you get used to a system, you can do it on those ones easily. Yeah, kind of, but being able to just touch screen move things perfectly. I mean, it really works. It's like smartphone level sensitive on the Canons. Being able to just do that so easily, that actually translates directly into your working experience with a camera. Actually translates directly into it. People talk about Canon color a lot. What you're seeing is just unedited, straight out of camera footage from the Canon RP. And again, you can correct other cameras to look nice, but look online. You know what I'm going to say. Everyone tries to make the pictures with people in look like Canon. So whilst I'd say you can make any camera look nice and it doesn't have to look like Canon. So I'm not going to say like, oh, it's got Canon colors, therefore you should get it because of that. But what I will say is Canon has nice colors straight out of the box that don't really need much work or any. You can record video or shoot photos that in terms of skin tones, and if you're photographing people or anything for that matter, that you want a nice color reproduction straight out of the camera, Canon's going to give you that. I think they're very good at it, just like Fuji is as well. They really excel at that, but you've got that with the Canon system, and the RP definitely has it. And I think the RP in particular has really, really nice color, which the EOS R needed a little bit of work, you know. The R needed work, and I had the R for a while, and it was one of the things I wasn't so keen about it. But the RP, straight out of camera, really nice. You could, like, let's say someone gave you a little video job to do and you needed to do some talking head stuff. This, you could film it, you could probably deliver straight from camera. As long as the lighting's good, you'd probably be all right. And just on the subject of video, the 1080p straight out of the camera is really nice. Yes, it's IPB and not all I, but as we've been seeing more and more recently, people can't tell the difference. For me, this camera means just get out and use it and just get on with it and accept the fact that at that price point, the limitations that I know this camera has, I can accept all of those things, such as the battery life, the 4K crop, the lack of focus in 4K, these things, you know, the lower dynamic range and so on. Let me be clear with you, I've shot commercial work, and I've shot weddings, I've shot portraits and landscapes and so on. There's basically nothing that I couldn't do in the real world with this camera that I do. Yeah, because even when you do commercial work, unless you're shooting for really big companies that need certain requirements, if that were the case, I'd hire the gear. Okay, like for medium format, I don't want to own the Fuji GFX. If I get hired to shoot on a campaign where I need medium format, I'm hiring a phase 1 with a proper medium format sensor, a big one in it. I'm not going to roll up with less than that if that's what the job needs. It's about like, what do you do that is going to need more than you've got? And you'd be surprised, I'm telling you now, the amount of commercial work that's shot on DSLRs is really high. And a lot of the stuff that you've seen that's out there was shot on cameras that are less capable than the RP. The RP can handle most of the regular commercial work that's out there. The RP can handle that. It's not going to handle the really high-end stuff, okay? But it's going to handle the bulk of what you're likely to do. And the stuff that's higher up than that, you're going to need teams and things, and I don't think you've got that. Like, most of you haven't got that. And again, it comes back to the fact that if you get hired for stuff, you would put things together and hire the equipment that you need. So my question to you is, what does the RP lack, really lack, that you need? And I bet you for most of you would say, actually, when it really comes down to it, there's probably nothing much that's actually missing there. You might like to have those other features, but you couldn't really say that you absolutely have to have them. I don't think so. Like, you could video a wedding on this. You could export it at 4K, no one would know the difference. It would be great. You could photograph a wedding on it, it'd be perfect. You could go around to your local businesses and do some commercial work for them. No problem at all. You could even work for some marketing companies and so on and use this camera to produce the photos for it. I wouldn't have any problem doing that whatsoever. You know, you could run most of your photography businesses, and especially if you're a hobbyist, like you don't need anything more than that. Forget it. Like, give me a break. You don't need anything more than this if you're not making money from photography. There's no way. This is more than enough. So have a think about it. See what you think. Maybe it is enough for you. I think it might be enough for me. I'm starting to change my mind on some stuff about cameras at the moment, you know. Really starting to change my mind on things and kind of see where Canon's going with things. Yeah, I got a bit sort of disenchanted with them for a while, like everybody else did, but I'm changing my mind gradually because it's that convenience factor, isn't it? It's that ability to just churn out the work in an easy way where everything kind of good enough and it works well, and in the end, you know, it's all about your content that you provide. That's what it's about. That's really what it's always about. It's not about the gear as much. This does everything in the gearbox where you need to say, but it needs to do this and that. I think for most people, this does what they need. Not for everyone, but for most people. So have a think about it. Anyway, take care. Bye-bye.